Everybody, Gerone Wright here, and once again you're joining me on my Gerone Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. We're here in a video and I'm going to be discussing with you objects in space. This happens to be an asteroid, and planets and things of that nature in space, and how moons and how these objects are identical to the objects therein are in our bodies. Okay, and the behavior and scenarios that are going on in our bodies. First of all, I'd like to add that I believe that it's beyond anything, I guess, comprehensible that you have these objects that are just floating around in space. In some areas contained stones. Here's a stone here. Stones floating around in space. That's what these are. I mean, if you go out in your yard and pick up landscape stones or any type of stone that you have there in your yard, whether it was granite or whatever, I mean, just go pick up a stone and you have these things on a much larger scale which are floating in space. There's something wrong with that picture. But what is equally wrong with that picture is wrong with the picture that is in your body, that in most cases that where you have a person with kidney stones, gallstones, urinary tract stones, and what other type of stones? There's several types of stones that you can get within your body, that these stones appear in your body and through certain conditions that it calls them to form. And it's my position anyway that our bodies are modeled after that of space from which we evolved. We are a byproduct of space. So therefore, it doesn't seem unusual to me that we would have these objects, similar objects, appearing in our body through certain conditions of kidney stone that we develop, bladder, gallstones, and urinary tract stones. All of this scenario is identical. So what this tells me, this is, and I'm going to arrive at how I arrived at all of this. And what this tells me is that the scenario that these stones are formed in our own bodies, which we are a model of space, meaning that the kidney stones, the bladder stones, the gallstones, and the urinary tract stones can be used to understand, that scenario can be used to understand the scenario of space and what is going on in space. And this is how I discovered this, is that early on through my paranormal experience and encounter, when I became one with space in a mental sense, that I became first understanding that space and our bodies, through these kidney stones, urinary tract stones, gallstones, and bladder stones, that this was the understanding and reality that I grasped at how space was working in the same form. So you can take either scenario. You can take the scenario from our bodies and actually come to the understanding of how space works. And on top of that, you can use it in a reverse analogy to take space and put it inside of our bodies to understand what is going on with the kidneys stones, the bladder stones, and the gallstones in our body. Both scenarios are the same in one. I have some pictures here, and I have this. Where's my arrow? My arrow didn't come out. There you go. I have here are various bladder stones here. Okay, this is an online search. And as you can see, this stone here, what did that stone look like? Besides a potato. these stones are similar to what we would expect and see our moon to look like. I'm going to come up on a moon shot here. Oh, it's too much light. Oh gosh. Here's a moon shot, which has actually too much light. But anyway, the moon is very similar. That white moon, grayish color, is very similar to these objects, which are right here. All right. I'm going to show you something else because I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to go past that blurry moon. It looks perfect. Here's another asteroid or a stone. And again, you can find this object being similar into that of an object that is pulled from your body. And what's more so amazing about this is how that these objects take on this circular appearance. Here's our Earth, and here's I guess that asteroid, a near miss object. It's a model of that object floating towards Earth. People, again, you have living beings on this planet, which is mostly all water in the first place, but people, to have an object almost a quarter of the size floating towards that planet in the form of a rock. I mean, again, people, this is just unimaginable. I mean, this is not real. This is not a for real scene. It's like someone taking a rock, and me taking this rock and throwing it into space. It's 6 or 7 times, you know what I mean? Let's say 6 or 7 million times the size it becomes that in space, and it's going towards a planet that can destroy a whole world. This is not real, people. And yet the same scenario of this rock is in our bodies. This is not nothing that I look at as being godly, holy, or anything of that nature. I'm looking at space through my paranormal experience and encounter. Is this going to go for me or what? As being, come on. I got it. Okay. Here's these rocks again. Again, people, each and every one of these stones can be equated to a kidney stone of that in space. If you were to take and Google kidney stones, images of kidney stones, my favorite choice is if you Google the Lewis C. Herring kidney stone images, they have some remarkable pictures up on their site of that, which I'm going to come up on a few in a minute. But if you just Google kidney stones and then go on the images, you will begin to realize that these stones are very much so similar to those of the stones that are in your body or that can be formed in your body. Then you start to understand that, let me keep moving. Again, this is the asteroid belt. Again, people, come on. This is not something that is real. I mean, it's real, but it's unreal. In space, these rocks just floating around like they're in this invisible wave of water. And at any given time, they can become dislodged from their ring of containment and can go shooting off into space and collide with another object. Think about this. But yet this is the same scenario that is also in our bodies, which I'm going to come up on some other. Again, here's another asteroid. Look at this. What would cause this to become shaped in this form anyway? I know, by the way, I know the answer to that as well. Here's a doctor's glove, and this is a big kidney stone. It's the it's just automatically unimaginable. It looks like an orange. Look at this, like a tangerine. An enormous kidney stone pulled from a body. Well, and that's another things too. How much time? I got plenty of time here. Okay, that's another thing about these stones, because you say that, well, these stones that come out of our bodies, they have blood on them. Where's the blood, Gerone? Where's the fluid at? And where's all of this at? Where's this gore at that is shown here? If we're inside of it, where's the flesh at? Where's the fluid? It's my position that something is going on, that space is in between a membrane that allows a filtration to go on. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I do have it on my alien UFO site, this information. But to make a long story short, I'm going to take you to India. And in India, I think on several different occasions, they had what if you Google it, Google India's red rain. Red rain. It's a phenomenon that happened, that that there was this red rain, and it's supposed to be this alien like blood or microorganisms that rained in the form of this red rain. Now, a lot of people had their ideas of what it was, how it came to be, how this phenomenon came to be. However, there was tests done on droppings of this red rain, and it showed that it had some type of alien life form blood that had this capability of reproducing itself. Okay, again, go to India's red rain and check this out. You got to check it out, because it's like a celestial alien blood that was raining in on India, and it's not the first time that it happened. It was another time that it happened as well too. And certain instances like that is what actually becomes explained through what I'm discussing here. Now, no person would say, well, how can it be raining blood? I can't believe that. That's crazy. You can't see it on that scale through that idea. Excuse me. But in this way that I am explaining it, telling us that we are inside of the body of another being, whereas the same identical scenario is going on in likeness and comparable to our body, where these stones, which are planets, we describe them as planets, as asteroids, as meteorites. These stones are actually inside of the physical body of another being, and there are scenarios going on where there are extractions, these movements taking place, these containments are what are going place. It's a filtration process, and I'm not going to go completely into detail, but what I'm telling you is that this also explains the scenarios where you have a phenomenon where there is, in India, there is blood being rained onto an entire civilization of people, or an area or a continent, and it's like wow, what is this going on? You know, this is what explains this. I'm going to keep going. Again, here are bladder stones. Look at these stones. These stones, the pair over here, are similar to what I have here. This is a landscape stone. But these stones that come out of our body are identical to that of stones which you can pick up off on the ground or which are floating in space. Here's one cut open, and this bladder stone cut open, it reminds me of what a meteorite looks like when it is actually cut open, and the different elements in a meteorite. It's almost a similar scenario. You know, it's just amazing that all of this is taking place. And again, people, I know why these stones are buildups and what is happening with them. Again, here's some bladder stones, which again can be equated with that of a moon. And you know, these comparisons, here's an asteroid, and notice that the asteroid, the shape of the asteroid, and then you have these protrusions, little attaching protrusions, and this is the same scenario again that you can find with a stone that is extracted from one's kidney, bladder, or urinary tract. It's the same exact scenario. or an animal, if through an animal. Again, these little attachments on the end, it's the same exact scenario of what we would find through a process where there's an extraction of kidney stones. And here we have kidney stones here, and those little protrusions and things that I'm telling you about, everything is there. Another asteroid. Again, I'm going to show you some of the harrying pictures where you're going to see where this object is identical to those stones that are floating in space. They're in our body. And here's another asteroid. And what's amazing about this is that these stones are identified and associated with a certain placement in our bodies. That's our urinary tract system, the kidneys, the filtration area where filtration takes place, our bladders, again, where there is a filtration and excretion of these fluids out of our body. This is where all of this takes place at, where there's this buildup, where there's these buildup of elements that actually come together and form these stones. Where there is a membrane that causes for almost like a calcium deposits, where there's this buildup over a period of time that creates these balls, these rocks. And this is the same thing that is happening in space, what space can be described as. These rocks, look at this strange alien looking rock here. Look at this. Almost looks like a skull, an alien skull. Socket, horn coming up out of here. This is the front part. This is what I'm telling you, people. This is not normal what is going on, not just in our bodies, but also in space. Look at this here. Now this is, I guess, that near Earth object rock here. People, this looks like a big piece of iron ore, a rock that you can pick up off the ground, floating past our planet. But yet if this object comes through our atmosphere and come in, it can cause a catastrophic friggin' event that will probably wipe out thousands of people and change friggin' the weather, the climate. This is not normal, people. But yet this is something that goes on in our bodies as well, on a smaller scale. And this is why I'm trying to tell you that understanding this, you would be able to understand what is going on in our bodies and vice versa. Again, there's stones there being held in a hand that came out of a body. Again, they have this same effect that as we would see. You can almost see the lines, the way the planets would be. You know what I mean? These would be lines caused by chemistries in the body, which would be from blood. Okay, now this is a look that you would see on something like Saturn, Jupiter. These lines here. But these, in this case, are caused by blood and the mixing that you see down here. See these stones? They have the same color effects, these colorings, as that of what our planet system, our planetary system has. There's in comparison to a dime, there's these, look at these stones. Identical to what asteroids look like. Objects floating in space. Identical. But these are stones that came out of our bodies. Or comes out of the human body. Now, this is unusual here, but look at this. You know what this reminds me of? And this is also a form of, it's from a canine. Okay? And I think they're describing it as a silica stone from out of a canine. Okay? Now check this out. You know what's amazing about this? Is that I seen this here before. You know when I first seen this type of object from, well, besides being in a laundry, like a laundry ball or something of that nature, or a dog's ball. This reminds me, as soon as I seen this reminds me of that gum stopper gum from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That cartoon from back in the day with Gene Wilder. And the children, the gum that he created and he was given to the children. And this is associated with canine. Now, I'm also a firm believer that in those movies, in those famous movies, the blockbuster movies, there's always this underlining message, hidden message that relates to something else. I'll go back and check into that sometime later, but I was always fascinated with that movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And this reminds me of that incredible gum that they had. I forgot it, Gum Stop or something. I forgot what it. But they were after the chemistry or the ingredients for it, and they were trying to get the kids to sell them that. But it goes on. For those of you that were into the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm going to keep going. But that's what that reminds me of. I'm getting sidetracked here, and I think. But look at this. Here's another stone, people. This looks like a mine that you would see from the earlier war era, World War I or II, like a land mine or a water mine that you would find in an ocean, or a diving bell or something along those lines. It just doesn't look normal, but yet it's a stone. Look at that, people. A stone. It looks. Some of these things look like the way you would get your chocolate or your chocolate candy. Look at this again. These are stones that comes out of your body. And animals, that of animals and of us. Look at this. This is not right, people. I'm telling you. But yet it could be also equated with what's going on in space. Okay, I just went past one. Look at this. This is a pyramid-shaped stone. I just went past one. I'm going to keep going. This is a crystalline stone, and there's other ones out there that remind you of being similar to that of the sun. That's why I like these, because their redness, their oranges in color, reminds me of that of our sun. As soon as I see this, and I equate it with that of what was going on to our body and to space, I think of the sun immediately. And I'm going to show you some other ones and why I come to this. All right, this is another type of stone. Again, I'm going to keep moving on. There's another type of stone there, the cluster of stones. But look again, look at these stones, people. I'm just going to flip through them right quick to let you know, to show you that all of these types of stones that are out there. Look at this stone. I'm going to go to. Okay, this is what reminds me of some type of caramel covered chocolate. And again, these are stones, people, but it reminds me of like a caramel covered chocolate or something with peanuts inside of it. But these are stones, all right, that comes out of the body due to a condition, a containment. Okay, now, all right, I'm going to stop here for a minute. This is a stone, okay. This is a stravite mineral encrusting stone. Now, what these look like, these little eggs. You see these little eggs right here? You know what this is? This is a necklace, like a pearl type necklace. There's the chain over here. There's a part of the chain over there, the attachment, okay, the lasp of the chain. And this chain was you can tell that it was either swallowed by either an animal that it was taken out of, or a child. Either or the two. But in either case, it was in a body for some period of time, because it became encased with that of sterlite minerals or stervite minerals, which are in the body, which calls for this to be contained. So it was encrusted, entombed, okay, in these minerals that in our bodies. Now, what's amazing about this is because this is the same thing, the scenario that I stated that is going on in space in my earlier on videos. How much time do we got? We still got a few minutes here. And basically what is happening is that when you have an alien object that is thrown into a body, your body over a period of time, what it would do is it would encase it, entomb it in mineral rocks from inside of the body. And when this rock was busted open by the doctor that extracted it from the body, this stone, this is what was found. This necklace. So whatever living being, whether it was a child or an adult or an animal that swallowed this is what was the result of this. And this is a stervite mineral that actually entombed this necklace, which got swallowed. So if you were to swallow this into your body over a period of time, if it didn't go through your digestive system, your system in your body would take and attack it and encrust it and entomb it. People, this is the exact scenario that I stated in earlier videos, which was going on in space. And I equated it with that if you took an object and placed it in space, let me grab an object real quick. Such as a remote control, a telephone, or an object of any sort that was an alien body in space, space would actually, the defense of space would actually take and encase it. And the encasement usually takes on this circular pattern or circular effect. And it like a ball, it creates like a ball. Like a spider would when a spider gets, when you get caught in a spider web, the spider comes over, attack it, and entomb it with its web. And this is what space is doing as well too. So if I was in space billions and billions and billions of years ago, and this remote control was my space vessel, and I was flying through space with this, and it shut down. Space caught me. Once I shut down, space caught me, and I became entombed in minerals of space. So planets or moons or anything that we disguise, or even objects like in so much as far as asteroids, could contain an object which could be consistent with either a space vessel or any other objects which have gotten loose in space, alien bodies, and have become entombed, encased in rocks. So, in other words, Mars moon could be an alien spaceship. Now let me move this out the way. We don't want to see that. That's all. Okay, there you go. Here's another stone, which could actually be that, or described as that, as a sun. Okay? This is amazing because this is a uric acid magnesium phosphate hydrate stone. And this, people, is one of those stones that, in my mind, looks to me and comes off as being that of a sun, or could be a sun in our body. In space. All right. There's another one that again appears to have that look. Look at these strange looking rocks, these kidney stones and bladder stones. Look at this, people. All objects that can be equated. There's that pearl necklace again inside of that encasement. All right, I guess that's about the size of it. All right. My position is, people, is that there's a filtration. There's space is just like this membrane where there is a filtration process going on. Okay, and in this filtration process, and matter of fact, let me go back to the kidney stone thing. There's this containment. There's these rings of containments, which can be described the same thing with what's going on with our solar systems, and in each ring, and each circular ring that is going around is a containment ring. It's the same thing that can be described in the scenario with kidney stones, bladder stones. These objects are contained, and then there's this ring formed. It's called, they're contained in this containment ring. It's exactly, there's no other way of stating it. And in this containment ring, almost like a spider web, what is happening is that they become entombed, encased, these objects. And then there's this buildup. It keeps going. It's a cycle where this object keeps going in this rotation, and where this object becomes circular and becomes encased or encrusted with the elements of the area that it is entrapped in, or encased, or entombed in. So it's this cyclination, through this circular cyclination of this of what is going on through this encasement. This object is built up, and then that's how these objects are being created, called planets, called moons, called asteroids. It's through this cycle that they keep going in this evolution, in this circle that they're going in, this cyclination. that this builds up onto their bodies, this entombment, this encasement. And in some cases, in their alien bodies, they begin off as alien bodies. And just like in this body here, where these beads, these pearls, this pearl necklace was pulled out of this entombment, encasement, out of an actual living body, it's the same thing that is going on in space. I have to end here, people. I'll put more in writing. We didn't stop.